Do you hate Obama? Does the idea of Trump or Hillary Clinton becoming the next president make you shudder? Or are you scratching your head to figure out who Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders are? As a college student, chances are that you're eligible to vote. But when's the last time that you actually did? I take pride in voting in every election, even the primaries, but I rarely see younger people at the polls. We're simply not inclined to vote. This means that a lot of people who are eligible to vote are not doing so regardless of the concessions made by the government to make it easier. There are a variety of reasons as to why it is important to vote. Mainly, it's because there are unseen repercussions of not voting, but also because there's more on the ballots than the candidates. There's a difference in federal and state elections, both in voter turnout but also in what you're voting for. All of this can seem a little overwhelming and easy to dismiss, but it is quite simple to fix with a little effort. MassVote's website states that for the past 3 decades, voters have been disproportionately of higher income, older, or more partisan in their interests. This information is backed up by the graphs on the census report by Thom. This means that stereotypically, we, as college students, are not inclined to vote, but we're the ones that are going to live with the repercussions and the outcomes of the voting much longer. According to a census report by Thom, presidential elections draw the largest number of voters to the polls, but even then it's usually less than 70%, and the midterm or congressional elections are less than 55%. It's not hard to believe that the general elections have an even lower turnout. A lot of people have reasons as to why they don't vote. They are out of town, sick, or don't think they'll make a difference. However, the government has made it easier for people to navigate these perceived difficulties. If you're eligible to vote in person, you're also eligible for an absentee ballot. MassVote.org says that you can get an absentee ballot if you're out of town on election day or if you have a disability or religious belief that makes it difficult for you to get to the polls. A Pew Research Center states that the recent poll that they did shows that only about 19% of Americans are fully trust the government. 20% believe that the government programs are run well, but a whopping 55% believe that an average American could do better at running the nation than the current politicians. They go on to say that in a poll done between August and October of this year, that approximately 79% of Americans are angry or frustrated with the government, but that's a larger percentage than the number of people who voted. MassVote.org reports that the communities that are more active at the polls have a stronger influence on the politicians because the politicians know who's voting. This means that your being active at the polls has an indirect as well as a direct outcome in your community or state and even the federal government. Stephen Farnsworth, in an article written for the Washington Post, stated that a total of 122 current office holders ran for re-election in the 140 seats in the Virginia legislature, and all 122 were re-elected. He follows the startling statistic with an even more jaw-dropping reality, that politicians get to draw their own district boundaries. This idea should draw rage, but many people are blissfully unaware of this inequality that the practice can cause. It sets the stage for the uncontested elections and takes away the power of the people to pick those who will accurately represent them. These statistics are about Virginia, but it's likely an issue all across the country. Alas, there is a way to stop this practice. According to ballotpedia.org, a ballot measure would allow citizens to vote on proposed state constitutional amendments and other local initiatives. This only works if people take action, not only to get the measure on the ballot, but then to get there and vote for it. If you think about it, you've probably heard of a number of ballot initiatives over the last few years. Ballotpedia gives a long list of recent initiatives, but you've probably heard about the legalization of marijuana, abortion restrictions, and the fight between family or LGBT rights, and they've been cropping up all across the nation. There are even websites that are set up to help you figure out where you fall politically and which candidates most closely match your ideals. These websites are isidewith.com and selectsmart.com. We may not be the most likely demographic to vote, but that's easily changed. It is important for every demographic to be represented at the polls because even those of us that don't vote will have to live with the outcome. From the representatives to the laws and taxes and a variety of other issues, both social and economical. Even when you're not voting for president or your congressman or senator that go to Washington, there are important local issues and local representatives that need your help and support. Change can start in the smallest of municipalities. Remember, there is more on the ballot than just the federal candidates. To quote massvote.org, voting matters both to the health of the American political system and to the people who participate in it. So please, help our nation, help our state, and help our local communities. Get informed, vote, and encourage your friends to do the same.